into some deep stuff. Stuff that you're not supposed to talk about. People aren't supposed to know. The no-nos. Don't talk about it. But the world needs to talk about this. So, who controls your sacred text? The hidden power of translation. So, what if I told you that nearly every sacred text you've ever read, every Bible, Quran, Bhagavad Gita, or Buddhist sutra was translated by someone with a very specific agenda? And that this quiet monopoly over translation has shaped how billions of people understand God, truth, morality, and reality itself. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a structural fact that progressive spiritual movements have almost completely overlooked, and it might be the single most important thing to understand about religion in the modern world. Act 1. The translation monopoly. Let's start with a simple question. Who translates sacred texts? Throughout history, translation has never been neutral. It has always been a form of control. In Christianity, early translations like Jerome worked under imperial authority. The King James Bible was created to consolidate power for both the church and state. These weren't academic exercises, they were political projects. In Islam, when translations finally became widespread, most came from conservative Sunni institutions funded by Gulf monarchies. The most distributed English Qurans today, printed in Saudi Arabia, carrying distinctly Salafi interpretations. In Hinduism and Buddhism, colonial missionaries did much of the early translation work, filtering ancient wisdom through Victorian Christian values. Today, conservative denominations and monarchies still dominate. Organizations like Gideon's distribute 2 million Bibles every week. Saudi Arabia King Fahd complex prints 10 million Qurans annually. These aren't just books. They're the ambient spiritual environment for hospitals, hotels, prisons, and military bases worldwide. Conservative groups control over 90% of sacred text distribution globally. Act 2. Why it matters. The flattening of meaning. But why does this matter? Isn't a translation just a translation? Here's the thing. Sacred languages are polyvalent. They thrive on multiple meanings happening simultaneously. In Hebrew, ruach means breath, wind, and spirit, all at once. It's not three separate concepts. It's a unified reality where matter and divine are inseparable. Conservative translations, they pick one meaning, spirit, with a capital S. The paradox vanishes. In Sanskrit, lila means divine play, cosmic sport, and creative manifestation simultaneously. It's the idea that reality itself is God delighting in existence. Conservative translation, sport. The entire cosmology collapses into a word that you'd use for basketball. In Greek, metanoia means transformed consciousness, a complete shift in how you perceive reality. Most Bibles, repentance, making spiritual awakening into moral guilt. You see the pattern here? Conservative translators systematically flatten paradox into clarity, multiplicity into singularity, mystery into moral rules, relationships into obedience, cosmic play into serious duty. Translation shapes not just belief, but the categories through which we perceive reality itself. Act 3. How they maintain control. Ooh, holy moly. So how do conservative groups maintain this monopoly? 3 ways. First, money and infrastructure. Conservative denominations operate like corporations. Evangelical publishers make billions. They have tax-exempt status, global missionary networks, and massive distribution systems. Progressive spiritual movements, they run on donations, podcasts, and workshops. There's no comparison scale. Second, canonical fixation. Conservative religion needs fixed, stable scriptures. It's about preserving an unchanging truth handed down from God. Progressive spirituality values personal experience, ongoing revelation, and individual interpretation. So they focus on commentary and discussion, not on building alternative translations. The result? Conservatives control the foundational text. Progressives debate meanings within a conservative framework. Third, material presence. Even in the digital age, physical books carry enormous authority. That Bible in the hotel room, the Quran in the prison library, that's where lives actually change. Progressive groups produce PDFs and blog posts. Conservatives produce durable objects that persist for decades, and online, algorithms amplify what's already established. Search for accurate Bible translation, and you'll find 8 out of 10 results from conservative sources because they have the SEO budget, the institutional backing, and the citation networks. Act 4. Why progressives miss this. Here's the uncomfortable question. Why have progressives, liberals, and mystical movements almost completely overlooked this? Reason 1. They may mistake interpretation for access. Progressives assume that the texts are already available, that the problem is just helping people read them more openly. But if the text itself has been ideologically encoded, you're interpreting inside someone else's framework. Reason 2. They distrust institutions, and for good reason. Hierarchies have caused immense harm, but institutions are also memory technologies. They preserve and transmit wisdom across generations. Progressives build beautiful conversations that fade. Conservatives build canonical infrastructures that last centuries. Reason 3. They underestimate material media. Progressive spirituality loves fluidity, digital sharing, podcasts, online courses, but the world still learns from what's printed and bound. A book in a prison library shapes more lives than 1,000 Instagram posts. Reason 4. Internal fragmentation. Progressive groups can't agree on a unified translation because they prioritize multiple perspectives. Feminist, queer, mystical, rationalist, post-colonial. This diversity is beautiful but produces paralysis. Meanwhile, conservatives enforce coherence through institutional discipline. They produce one authoritative version. Progressives build conversations. Conservatives build canons. Act 5. The hidden cost. A personal story. Let me share something personal that reveals just how deep this goes. So for over 10 years, I have been developing this spiritual philosophy that I'm now living, this ontology, this framework, and that I've been living and breathing. It was about dissolving false binaries, moving beyond divisions like self versus other, sacred versus profane, transcendent versus immanent. I had procedural knowledge. I lived it, practiced it, refined it, but I couldn't find the word for it. For years, I knew that there had to be a term for this, for this way of being that transcends duality without rejecting it, but every search led to dead ends or partial answers. Then I described it to AI, and instantly it said, "You're describing transdualism." Transdualism, transtheism, transdual consciousness. The terms existed, scattered in obscure philosophy papers, mystical circles, niche forms, but they've never cohered into something findable. Why? Because the same forces that control sacred translations also control lexicons, dictionaries, encyclopedias, and search databases. These systems are built on binary classifications. Theism or atheism, monism or dualism, sacred or profane. Terms that dissolve these binaries, like transdualism, don't fit the grid. They're not between the poles. They're beyond the polarity itself, and that's ontologically threatening to systems built on binary control. See, this is where I always have this anxiety, about, like, especially in the fucking current government and shit. Like, if I do fucking get famous or some shit off this, like, fucking Trump's coming after me, man. It's gonna be like fucking Timothy Leary and Nixon, man. Like it's not gonna be fun. Like, because, yeah, I'm, like, breaker of chains, man. Like, this is some interesting shit. So, let's get back to it. They're not between. So they're threatening to systems built on binary control. So what's remarkable is that AI, trained on all available text, could pattern match my description to this latent concept. It wasn't creating something new. It was revealing what culture has suppressed. AI revealed what dualistic systems had to hide. Act 6, the deeper pattern. Here's the meta insight. Any power structure based on binary opposition must control how people name reality. Conservative religious authority rests on dualisms, saved or damned, righteous or sinful, believer or infidel, male or female, spirit or flesh. If they dissolve into continuums or paradoxes, their entire authority structure loses coherence. You can't have clear religious law without clear categories. You can't have missionary urgency without saved versus lost. You can't have patriarchal order without fixed gender roles. Translation becomes the front line because language shapes thought. If people encounter sacred texts that preserve ambiguity, multiplicity, and paradox, they develop transdual consciousness. If they encounter flattened, moralized binary versions, they internalize dualistic worldviews. This is why mystical traditions have been always been marginalized, why wisdom literature gets domesticated into moral platitudes, why direct spiritual experience is considered dangerous by institutional religion. Control translation, control consciousness. Act 7. What does this mean for the future? We're at an inflection point. We're already at an era where AI will increasingly mediate spiritual seeking. If the training data is overwhelmingly conservative translations, AI will reproduce that bias at scale. But if progressives create robust alternative corporea, AI could help resurface suppressed wisdom. The next decade is in the window, before AI-mediated spirituality ossifies. This isn't just academic. The translation monopoly directly enables right-wing politics. Hindu nationalism relies on translations that naturalize caste hierarchy. Christian nationalism relies on translations that sanctify patriarchy. Islamic extremism relies on translations emphasizing warfare over inner struggle, and it shapes the cognitive categories of billions. When people encounter the sacred through conservative translations, it doesn't just affect their beliefs, it affects how they perceive reality itself. Cognitive colonization through translation. Act 8, the path forward. So what do we do? If you care about spiritual liberation, social justice, or just honest access to wisdom traditions, here's what needs to happen. 1. Treat translations as sacred practice, not capturing fixed meanings, but participating in the living transmission of wisdom across boundaries. 2. Preserve polyvalence. Don't resolve ambiguity. Embrace it. Show multiple valid readings. Let text mean several things simultaneously. And I'll add a thing to that. Read multiple Bible translations. Compare. That's where it helps with that, 3. Be transparent about positionality. Conservative translations claim neutrality while encoding bias. Ooh, that's the ESV, man. ESV. Progressive translations should be honest. This version centers liberatory readings, or this translation prioritizes mystical interpretations. 4. Build common-based production. Use open-source models, crowdfunding, collaborative editing, make translations freely available while also producing beautiful physical editions. 5. Develop material strategy. Don't just make PDFs, print books, create apps, partner with libraries, get into prisons, meet people where conservative texts currently are. 6. Use AI as a tool. AI can analyze semantic choices across translations, suggest alternatives that restore complexity, create databases of marginalized interpretations, and generate study notes that deconstruct conservative framing. But let human wisdom guide the process. AI should serve a transdual goals, not replace human discernment. Closing. Here's the truth that conservative powers have always known and progressives keep forgetting. Whoever controls the translation controls the tradition. For centuries, that control has belonged to institutions that need binary worldviews to maintain power. But the monopoly is cracking. AI, diaspora communities, queer theologians, post-colonial scholars, mystical practitioners, all are creating alternatives. If these fragments can cohere into robust infrastructure, translations that endure, that reach millions, that reshape ambient spirituality, then a genuine transdual renaissance becomes possible. The revolution you seek won't come from the new ideas alone. It will come from those who get to translate the old ones. The sacred has always flowed through broken channels. The distortion itself becomes the path to recognition. And now, with ancient wisdom waiting to be rediscovered and new technologies offering unexpected allies, we have a choice. Accept the translations we given, or become the translators the world needs. The truth was never hidden, just mistranslated. So, just a little closing notes of my own, this is where I actually, what brought me to this, revelation and working with AI here, getting this, video script and everything was, getting into reading the Bible and, getting these other sacred texts. And so the first Bible I got was the TLV, the Tree of Life version, because I really loved the Messianic Bibles translations, because they had that first century Jewish culture, emanating through the text. Like it brought some of the culture through. Like it brought you to the past. Like it helped you get out of the bias of presentism and actually be open minded. Reading this stuff. So I read the TLV. I read the TLV Bible, and I compared with all these other Bibles, looked at Strong's, a dictionary, all this different stuff, and then I got into buying the Hinduism text. Oh my God, what a nightmare! What a freaking nightmare! I'll have to say probably 90% of all Hindu texts on Amazon are just pop Hindu stuff. They are absolute, like, AI generated, just absolute slop trash. Like, you have to have real discernment when you're looking at this stuff. You have to study and find out what it is, and I'll give you a few helpful hints. Well, actually just one at the moment, because I'd have to study the other one. I'd have to pull up the other ones to give you that information. But the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita, everyone reads that, that gets into the Hinduism, but it's actually just one section of the whole entire Mahabharata. To me, that sounds like, just reading Genesis out of the Bible. I'm like, this is insanity. I'm going to read the whole thing. And almost everyone online is an abridged copy. I don't like abridged. I want it as, deep and dense and long as possible. I want it to be the real thing. So, I looked into that and found, the different unabridged ones, and I found Vivek Du Bois' copies, his works. And I saw that, he worked at this institute, and they're considered critical editions, so it was like they're almost doing like biblical kind of stuff with this. I'm like, they're going hardcore, deep with this. But then I go deeper after I, buy it and stuff. Like, I didn't buy it right away. I was thinking about it because I was looking into it. So actually, I didn't buy it away. I bought it after I discovered this whole thing, because I looked into the background of Vivek Du Bois, this economist from India, and his political ties. And I'm going, oh, he's has political ties with Modi and his far right, Hindu nationalist freaking, political squad. Like, ooh, that's not pretty. And I'm going, oh my God, okay, I let my ego dissolve a little bit about him being an economist. I may be more on the anti-capitalist side of things, but or current anti-capitalism. Capitalism's different across different ages, But, now I'm losing my train of thought. Fuck. Come on. Oh, just that. So, Vivek Du Bois had these ties to, Hindu nationalists, and I'm realizing that, that's pretty much the only reason he was able to, get this book published. Like, he was able to translate it and get it all down, but, yeah, the publishers, like, this is where this is massive global gatekeeping of the media industry. We have the freaking internet, but, like, it's stupid. It's ridiculous, man. So anyway, people will go, oh yeah, you could do print on demand books, all this different stuff, but garbage, man, garbage. I'm frick, man, like garbage quality content on the inside, garbage quality physical book, like garbage, slop. So yeah, so looking into the Hindu text and looking into the Christian text, and because I looked into after I read the Bible, I looked into the ministry that created it, because at first I was just looking at very surface levels of the ministry that created it. Now I'm starting to look at the emails they're sending to me, the little quotes, and the little subtext, little semantic word choices, and I'm going, he's fucking, oh my God, just, you make the best Bible, but you are just another absolute shit church that doesn't understand it, and all these younger generations are starting to understand it. Like, what's up with the churches? What's up with this? Like, the church, religion is not going to die. The church is not dead. It's not going to die, but things do change, and freaking A, man, like, clashing, man. Freaking A. Clashing ideologies, clashing generations. Not fun. So anyway, I just looked into the Christian book and discovered that, oh yeah, this is full of conservative Christian shit, and oh my goodness, and oh my god, like the only like progressive translation I know of is the Message Bible, but it's a complete paraphrased, and even the leftists are often make fun of it, but at the same time it's like, if you're getting it just for the story for people with disabilities, like that's an amazing thing. But if you're actually trying to do critical, deep work, then yeah, that's not gonna work. I wanted the progressive, but that's like fucking hippie down crystal worshipping fucking dumb shit. Like I don't want that colonialized freaking Western fucking the Eastern mysticism, man. I want the real Eastern mysticism. None of this Western colonialized garbage, man. So anyway, looked into the freaking Christian shit and discovered every single translation, conservative freaking church behind it, conservative organizations behind it, and it's the same way with every freaking holy scripture, man, of every religion, man, like that I've found. I there's probably some digital ones online of some progressive ones that I don't know about. There's probably some niche circle of the internet, some people working together but not releasing it to the wide public, and just fear of whatever, because we live in a crazy world, because I'm saying stuff I should not be saying, and that's dangerous, but it needs to be said. And I got faith in the good people in this world, and whatever God I believe in, or gods, or eminent transient, like I can't even explain it. I could believe it, I know it, I live it, but I can't even articulate it, at least not yet. So anyway, just had to share this freaking fascinating thing, because yeah, it does sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's a real systematic issue, a real socio-religious, socio-political, freaking systemic issue that I can't believe leftists haven't figured this out. I'm like, it's like, why are just so many leftists so freaking low on the will to power, like especially with all this Trump stuff going on and whatnot. Like I know I'm getting diverted from my original video, but fuck it at this point, because this is good shit. But it's like, the freaking I lost my train of thought. uh, just fucking a man, just polarization and negative feedback loops everywhere, man. Everything's falling apart. I'm just fucking, Danny Elfman or something hit in my head, happy, happy, everything is crumbling, happy, happy. For reals. But I can do that with my faith. That's what's awesome. I can actually, as long as I'm not being traumatized into a living hell because of my circumstances, like, I'm pretty fucking good even with the bullshit in life. Someone dies, like things happen, like I'm pretty fucking good at it, and so yeah, because I learned to appreciate the pain as much as the pleasure, and mixed it all up and did all this crazy stuff. So balance, but blended, a blended balance. It's homogenous now. So yeah, the key though is to be unethical. If you just have transdualism, you're gonna turn into some like Nazi Calvinism, man. Like it can go bad. Like this is where I was afraid of fucking releasing this shit, talking about this for the longest time, man. Cause people's ethics be fucked, people's morals be fucked. Like shit is fucked. Like we need to get morality up to the code of ethics, and ethics being more fucking like adaptable yet rigid. Like it's like, damn, fuck. So yeah, it's just freaking crazy, man. Like, because I'm starting to see it with the freaking AI and the just everything online. I'm starting to see it. These little word changes, these little shifts in semantics that affect the subconscious, affect the ontology, the existential aspects of the human, the civilian populace, and it's just like, are you kidding, man? This is ridiculous, man. It's like they're doing the freaking CIA fucking experience on the whole fucking population, man. Like, freaking A, man. Crazy. But I must be losing my brain cells because I sound like I'm fucking turning into Boomhauer from fucking King of the Hill or some shit. I'm like mumbling. I'm not a mumbler. I don't like mumbling. I like clear dialogue. which is sometimes fail because I stutter or go too fast or flip over my freaking senses because I'm going so fast my tongue can't keep up. But yeah, this is just crazy shit because it's like, first of all, dangerous for me. Second of all, like, paradigm shifting if leftists could leftist believers could actually realize this and start taking real action, not just having some small little circle of the internet, not sharing it like, oh, I'm saying find the people, find the people, find the investors, find the publicators, like, find all the channels, like, figure this shit out. Will to power can be an ethical thing, man. That's why I swear to God, it's like leftists are afraid of not Nietzsche, man. They read Nietzsche the wrong way, man. Everyone read Nietzsche the wrong way though, so can't give them shit on that. Although that's just because, again, we can read things in different ways. And that's what's funny, because I'm autistic, so I like things being really literal with the semantics and words, but at the same time, I'm a philosopher, so I can understand the Art Nouveau, the poetry, the fluidity, the social, vibe. Like, I'm fucking getting this shit, man. Like, it's good stuff. Good stuff. But, yeah, I think I'm going to get going in a second, or a minute or a second, something like that. But, I don't know. Just crazy, interesting stuff. Because that's where it's like, I'm like, man, somebody help me out, man. Help me will to power to get into, like, the film industry, get into the book industry, like, to get into the flow of information, the control of information, man. Because the person running the tap right now is freaking brain dead, man. He's been huffing glue or something, man. Like, I swear. I'm like, it's not just about politics or religion. It's also about control of information and how it's accessed. And we got the freaking internet, and we got no access to anything. It's all algorithmically blocked and censored and freaking, oh my gosh. I know, I just can't handle the modern day, man. I swear. Literally, I was just writing, like, my mom asked me how to write dentist earlier, or dental, I'm writing up on the phone, because she's asking, is there an A at the end, or before the L, or is there an E? So I'm looking up, and it's saying dental with an E is perfectly acceptable, but yet I'm looking it up again, and it's saying it's not at all acceptable. I'm like confused as shit. I'm like, when I first thought and I saw it's acceptable, I'm like, well, maybe it's an English thing. Maybe it's like gray, like gray in England, it's with an E, but over in America, it's an A or whatever, or however that is. Maybe I had it mixed around. I don't freaking know. But anyway, I'm like, maybe it was like that. But then it turned around, it was like, no, it is definitely an E, not an A, or whatever. So just freaking ridiculous. I was like telling my mom, like, I can't even search up a freaking definition without being gaslit by the AI and algorithms and all this bull crap, man. All this semantic freaking tunneling and, oh, it's freaking horrible, man. You can't find anything, you can't search anything, you have to use a freaking million different things. It's like, no, you can't just use Google, can't just use ChatGPT. No, you have to use Google with ChatGPT, with Perplexity, and then you might figure it out. I don't get how the rest of you doing it. I hope you're all doing well, because this world's freaking nuts right now, man. Talking about linguistic freaking triple linguistic traps and freaking flow of information and control and how it affects all of the human species and just crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get going for now. So, peace and victory, or Sage and DeForest, peace and victory. Sign out.